AI friend, foe, or fad? How long until we're all working for a super intelligent toaster? Are robots coming for my job?
This one to me looks like there's a bit of substance to it. Accountants and the accountancy practices, I think, have got some real gains to make with AI.
And I wonder if maybe in 6 to 10 years' time, we'll look back at AI and go, that's like the third key area of transformation that really set us off into a new direction. Welcome to the Silver Linings podcast. I'm your host, Phil Hobden, and in this series, we'll be exploring how big changes like AI are shaping the future of accounting and the wider business world. From bold industry trends to transformative tools, if it's shaking up the workplace, we'll be talking about it. So pull up a chair and join me. You might just start seeing things in a whole new light. And joining me today for our special teaser episode is our very own CEO, Lisa Miles-Hill, or LMH, as most people know her. LMH, thank you for joining us. How's it feel to be our first guest on the Silver Linings podcast?
Well, Phil, let's be truthful here. I'm not really your guest. I'm your kind of like, as we say in New Zealand, I'm your first pancake. And the expectations of the first pancake are generally pretty low. So I'm going to do my best here, of course, but I'm really just warming everything up, warming the seat up for all those great guests you're going to have following on behind me, yeah?
I love that. I've never heard that expression before, the first pancake. That's great. Well, good. No pressure then. So let's talk about what this podcast is all about. And the Silver Linings podcast isn't just another chat show. It's actually about digging into trends, tools, and shaping the way we work. So we'll cover everything from the big shifts like digital transformation to topics like well-being and the future of work. Basically, if it's shaking up the workplace, if it's happening within the accounting and the accountancy sphere, we're going to be talking about it.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting, Phil. I think the idea that anything that sort of is orbiting in our universe and brings relevance and insight with a bit of a practical or pragmatic edge, I think that's what listeners can really expect out of the podcast. And looking at the list of some of those guests, I think, we're really going to deliver some interesting different thoughts and different ideas from some real experts in the field.
Yeah, exactly that, right? Like, I love the idea of kind of just taking whatever is that key topic at the moment and exploring it and diving a bit deeper, which I guess brings us to season one. And it's probably no surprise that our big topic for season one is this. It's the big robot in the room. It's AI. And we're asking the question, AI, friend, foe, or fad? And now, look, we know AI is one of those topics that everyone's talking about. But often in this kind of abstract sci-fi kind of way, we've all seen those movies with the robots that come down and, try to murder us all. And so people don't know what this is going to be, what AI really is. So, are robots coming for my job, or how long until we're all working for a super intelligent toaster? I'd like a super intelligent toaster, one that doesn't overcook my toast.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we're all feeling our way on this. Don't get me wrong. There's some experts out there, and we'll get them to share a bit of their kind of thought leading views. But I think for the majority of us, it's really figuring out how can we leverage AI for our benefit rather than sort of be dragged along with it all. And buzzword. You and I have been around a long while, so we've seen sort of things come and go. This one to me looks like there's a bit of substance to it. It looks like it is one of those transformational changes, sort of back up with when, the web was introduced. It feels to me like it's that kind of change. And it's not just the same as maybe blockchain, which is another sort of transformational change that's come through that doesn't really look as though it's delivered on the hype that everybody said it was going to. Saying that, accountants and the accountancy practices, I think, have got some real gains to make with AI. And I know we've got some people out there who are doing exactly that. Let's shine a light on some of those lessons that they can teach us.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, actually. Like, I think there's been some kind of marketable moments in the history of this industry, and I think the internet is probably one of them, and then cloud accounting is probably the other. And I wonder if maybe in 6 to 10 years' time, we'll look back at AI and go, that's like the third key area of transformation that really set us off into a new direction. And do you know what? We're lucky because we've got some incredible guests that are going to help us unpack this. So just to name drop a little, we've got Chris Downing from Sage, and Sage are doing some great stuff around AI. We've got Jason Maud from Starling Bank. And, I'm a huge fan of Starling. They, much like Silverfin as a business, are a company that build all their tech from scratch. So they don't go out there and kind of grab a bit of technology and rebrand it. They actually go, look, this is what we want to do and this is how we build it. We've got Billy McLaughlin from 2020 Innovation and loads more, right? So what a great selection of guests for our first season.
Yeah, and what I love about that, Phil, is it's not just us drinking our own champagne and just us talking about us. I really like the fact that every so often you'll probably sneak something in there about Silverfin or give a Silverfin perspective. But this is about us really bringing to the podcast some of the people that we're interacting with and having some great experiences with. But possibly, those people's views deserve to be shared to a wider audience. And I think this is where we can really amplify those perspectives and bring the conversation to a different level for all of the accountants out there who are brave enough to tune in, Phil. And I'm looking forward to. I'm expecting it's not going to be your conservative, straight-laced podcast, but I am expecting quite a bit of rich content. And you're not bringing the wallflowers to the show, so I'm thinking, watch out.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, even outside of accountants, right? So this podcast is going to have relevance to people in finance. It's going to have relevance to other tech vendors and people in this space. So we've tried to kind of keep it relevant for accountancy. But there's so much that I've learned through kind of this journey of talking to our guests over the first season. So absolutely, you're right. It's definitely not going to be your standard kind of wallflower conversation. I think that's pretty much guaranteed when you look at the guests and the people involved in putting it together, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm imagining there'll be a bit of fun and a bit of. Have we got some rules around the kind of colourful language levels that we're allowed to tolerate on the podcast?
Nothing that's gonna shock your grandma too much, but definitely some bits and pieces that will challenge the way you're thinking. So our first episode drops on the 18th of February, and that's with Klaus Dahl from Visma, Silverfin's parent company. And Klaus is someone that's been doing a lot of work out there in the wider kind of industry and sphere around AI. So he felt like a great first guest. And then obviously every episode will drop bi-weekly after that. You can hit subscribe. You can tell your friends, colleagues, pets, and everyone else, because we're launching the podcast. It's coming in, and we've got some fantastic guests for your audio listening pleasure.
Yeah, Phil, I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks for having me along, and hopefully it just gets better and better hereafter than me. I'm pretty confident of that. But I'm available anytime you want to invite me back, particularly if you touch on any of the topics I'm really interested in. And let's see where we can take this.
Thanks, LMH, and thanks to everyone listening. And we'll see you soon on the Silver Linings podcast.
Bye, everyone.
You've been listening to the Silver Linings podcast, which was written and produced by me, Phil Hobden, and Lara Bolsonaro. The podcast is edited by Lee Stallard and Nomad Video. If you'd like to find out more about Silverfin, you can visit us at silverfin.co.uk or check us out on LinkedIn.